The evening air in Manhattan buzzed with a mix of excitement and tension as the city's elite gathered at the rooftop of the Glass Tower, one of the trendiest event spaces in the heart of Midtown. Crystal chandeliers reflected the city lights through floor-to-ceiling windows, and the sound of champagne glasses clinking blended with soft jazz playing in the background. Among the guests was Michael Harrington, a man known for his sharp business acumen, impeccable fashion sense, and unfortunately, his cruel streak when it came to his personal life. Tonight, Michael had chosen to humiliate his wife, Emily, in front of a crowd of influential socialites and business moguls. Emily, a striking woman in her late 20s with an undeniable elegance, was 6 months pregnant. Her soft glow and delicate curves only highlighted the life growing inside her, but Michael seemed blind to everything but his desire to assert dominance. The moment arrived when Michael, holding a glass of champagne, leaned toward Emily with a smirk. "I can't believe you actually wore that dress tonight," he said, his voice carrying across the room just enough to catch the ears of nearby guests. "You're supposed to be sophisticated, not oversized and uncomfortable." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Emily's face flushed a deep shade of red, her hand instinctively moving to her belly. She opened her mouth to reply, but Michael cut her off with a chuckle that sounded more like a weapon than amusement. "Come on, Emily. Don't tell me you actually thought you could pull this off." People began shifting uncomfortably, some exchanging worried glances, but others, sadly, entertained by the drama unfolding. Emily tried to maintain composure. She had faced Michael's temper before, but never so publicly, never with so many people watching her every reaction. Her hands shook slightly, but she kept her voice steady. I thought it was appropriate," she said quietly, hopping to diffuse the situation, but the mockery in Michael's eyes only sharpened. "Appropriate," he scoffed, raising his voice. "For a party like this, you're lucky anyone even brought you along. Honestly, Emily, sometimes I wonder why I even bother inviting you to these events." A few friends tried to intervene subtly, moving closer to offer support, but Michael's arrogance was palpable. The humiliation was deliberate, orchestrated to show everyone in attendance who held power in the relationship. Emily felt a mix of anger and helplessness. She loved him once, she really did, but moments like this reminded her why that love was overshadowed by fear. Then, just as the laughter around her began to sting, a low, commanding voice echoed from the elevator hall. The room seemed to freeze for a fraction of a second. Emily's heart skipped a beat. The seconds ticked slowly as she turned her head, barely believing what she saw. Tall, impeccably dressed men entered the room, exuding an aura of authority and wealth that matched only the stories Emily had heard growing up. Her brothers, billionaire brothers who had always been protective of her, who never tolerated anyone treating her poorly. Their eyes locked on Michael, and for the first time that evening, the smug confidence in his demeanor wavered ever so slightly. The air shifted. Whispers began circulating among the guests. The party that had been Michael's stage for humiliation was about to become something entirely different, something he would never forge. Michael's smirk faltered as the three tall men strode into the center of the room. Each moved with the unmistakable confidence of someone who had built empires before breakfast. Emily's billionaire brothers, Ethan, Lucas, and Nathan, had always been formidable, but tonight their presence carried an unmistakable message. Cross Emily and there would be consequences. Ethan, the eldest, stopped just a few feet from Michael, his eyes locking onto him with a quiet intensity that silenced the room. The party music faded as people sensed the tension shift. Ethan's voice was calm, but every word cut like ice. "Michael," he said, taking a deliberate step closer, "I think you need to apologize to my sister." Michael opened his mouth to respond with his usual arrogance, but something in Ethan's tone made him pause. He was used to controlling every situation, but the unwavering gaze of a billionaire who had never tolerated disrespect was new. Michael stammered, looking around. Guests were now watching intently, sensing the impending confrontation. Some pulled out their phones, ready to capture every moment of the spectacle. Lucas, the middle brother, placed a hand on Michael's shoulder lightly, but with enough pressure to make it clear that Michael's bravado meant nothing here. "You humiliated her," Lucas said sharply. "In front of everyone. That's not acceptable. You will make this right." Nathan, the youngest, stepped forward, his presence equally commanding. "And if you don't, we'll make sure everyone knows exactly how you treat the woman who's carrying our niece. Do you really want that reputation?" Sweat beaded on Michael's forehead. The laughter and whispers from earlier were gone, replaced by a heavy silence. He realized that the room was no longer his stage, it was theirs. The partygoers shifted uncomfortably, some taking small steps back, sensing a storm about to erupt. Emily, still clutching her belly, felt a wave of relief. Her brothers had arrived just in time, and for the first time that evening she no longer felt powerless. Her eyes met Ethan, and he gave a subtle nod of reassurance. She straightened her posture, a hint of pride replacing the earlier humiliation. Michael, now visibly shaken, tried to regain control with a weak smile. I was just joking," he muttered. Ethan raised an eyebrow, unimpressed. "Jokes are fine," he said, his tone icy, "but humiliation is not, especially when it's directed at family." The guests began murmuring, and Michael's attempt at charm fell flat. The brothers moved with quiet authority, surrounding Emily slightly, forming an unspoken barrier of protection. Michael's ego had finally met its match. Seeing no escape from the situation without further damage to his reputation, Michael swallowed hard. He turned toward Emily, his voice trembling slightly. "Emily, I'm sorry. I didn't mean." Emily looked at him, her expression calm but resolute. "You meant every word," she said softly, "but that's not my concern anymore." Ethan placed a firm hand on her shoulder. Leave him to think about what he just did," he said. Emily's brothers guided her toward the elevator, their presence a shield of strength and wealth. As the elevator doors closed, Michael was left standing amid the whispers and curious stares of the party guests. The man who had tried to humiliate a pregnant woman had been humiliated himself, not by words, but by the quiet power of those who truly mattered. And Emily, she walked away, protected, respected, and stronger than ever, her brothers proving that some forces were simply unstoppable.